time. Let me double check this. Yeah, timing, perfect. So let's start. We have a busy agenda for this breakout session around the digital health technologies that drive innovation. My name is Patrick Lampley. I'm a specialist solution architect in AWS. I'm specialized in healthcare and life sciences, and I'm covering EMEA, and I'm based in Paris. So today we're going to talk about a few things, such as security and compliance, which can be a bit confusing at the beginning, but I will tell you why it's very important for this innovation capacity. We're going to talk about machine learning, obviously, and a bit of the different layers of machine learning and how to use it almost everywhere to make a better experience for the patient, for the caregivers. I will talk about data interoperability. It was mentioned also this morning during the roundtable. It's a very important topic, especially in our days where we want to go. We want to facilitate the exchange of data around COVID-19, also for research, and also for medical devices and elements like that. It's the capacity to connect to everyone. And I will end up quickly on the how to start. Hopefully you will find this very useful, and give you a bit of guidance on also what is the first steps for you. Again, as I said in the chat, there's a register link. As a startup attending this Barcelona Health Hub Summit, you are eligible for some AWS credits to start your journey into using AWS. So please register. I will show this again at the end of the presentation, and you have it in the chat. So let's start with security and compliance. It doesn't sound very innovative per se, but in fact, it's something that is very important, especially in digital health. To be competitive, you have to be secure and compliant on different countries and different aspects. So let's see how we can do that. Because obviously you are here, you're startups, or you are innovators, entrepreneurs. And you want to innovate and move fast. That's very key. And at the same time, there's this people talking about security, compliance, stay secure, make sure that everything is working. So it's a bit slowing down. And so that was basically the change in this industry for years and decades now. About do you move fast and probably hit the wall, or do you want to stay secure but basically slowing down your innovation capacity and failing to deliver the innovation that the industry needs, the patients, the caregivers, and the rest of the industry. So now, and what we are going to talk about this in this coming minutes, it's how to move fast and stay secure, because that's a competitive advantage. You need to be able to keep the security and the privacy, and because you are touching a very private, very sensitive topic, which is health and the health data and the health of the patients and the activities of caregivers. It's very important to stay secure and at the same time innovate for them, bringing the things that are missing or improving their experience. So with the cloud, all of this now is made easier. So you can stay agile and maintain, in any case, your security, and sometimes even improving your security to this. And there's some practice around this. So AWS is providing a lot of capacities in terms of infrastructure and services. What is very important to know about this and why it's important? You will, by using AWS, you will inherit global security and compliance controls. We will cover this in a minute, but it's very important. It's not only for one data center or one server or one application. It's compliance and security for all your systems. You can scale with superior visibility and control. So you can. The challenges usually in startup is to you control what you are doing now, but you grow fast because you have a lot of success, and now you scale this capacity to control what's happening. That's a very important topic. Also standards around privacy and data security. We know it's very sensitive. It's a challenge to cover everything, and using the right tools and having the right approach to it is very key. One thing that I really like, especially because it's a key for innovation, it's a key to go fast and stay secure, is to automate as much as you can and reduce the risk of your business, of what's happening on your solutions, with using deeply integrated services. And also, as you are probably health experts, you want to focus on your key area. You can benefit of the AWS experience, but also all the partners and solutions that we have on the platform to help you focus on your elements, but still having the extra support you need to cover the whole picture. So to the inherit, when you're using AWS, in fact, you inherit the global security and compliance controls that we do for all the industry. AWS has created the cloud 15 years ago and has grown fast and in all the industries. And so as security is our number one priority, we by default create and secured a lot of all our systems, and we get certifications for a lot and various certification and compliance frameworks that are available in the world, by country, international, by industries. And here you can see that you have at the top a very known ISO certification for the cloud, for the quality, for also the security audits, all the SOCs, SOC, 1, 2, 3, a lot of elements. You have also healthcare specific and license specific frameworks like GXP or HIPAA for US. You have HDS, which is a health data storage in France. We are heavily involved with the NHS in UK, so we are part of the G Cloud, so we have compliance here also. You have also the Spanish one here, ENS. So what I wanted to say here is that using AWS is not only focusing on one specific compliance that you need. You benefit of the whole picture of what we do to cover all the industries, all the country, all the international compliance and elements that makes you successful, and because it's needed to grow. So as Guy Spiegelman said this morning, if you were able to attend this morning, he said that it's important to think when you build for global. Maybe you start with a country, but if you go global, it's important to have this in mind. And using AWS, it's a way to scale and benefit of this. Why? Because if you look at what we call AWS regions, which are groups of availability zones that are groups of data centers, so it's large, consistent infrastructure to support your activity. Every time we grow and we add new regions, you benefit of this global compliance also. So there's all these elements, and every time we deliver a new service, we try to make sure it's compliant with as much as possible the new compliance and with the existing one too. And so it's easy to scale from your country, making it work. And then once you want to go to another country or once you want to go global, you can benefit of this whole picture. So this is a key element to be able to scale and adapt efficiently. Second thing is important also because as you are probably doing this already, doing digital health is also about showing that you're doing the right way. It's all about the compliance. In AWS, we have this model of shared responsibility where AWS is securing the cloud. We are securing how the cloud is built, how we are protecting the infrastructure, the services, how we make sure that the quality management system is working as appropriate for the AWS cloud. And you, as a customer, can use AWS, and you are responsible of how you use the cloud. So how you use the different services and bricks to make it compliant. And if we go a bit clearer into how to be compliant for you, AWS gives you the capacity to get this certification and this quality, and you can use these compliance artifacts to support your documentation for compliance reasons. So you use AWS elements to say we are using this service, and this is the compliance or the certification that proves that it's compliant. And this is how we build with this service the element to be compliant. So it helps you to not do the full compliance, but using part of what we provide, and also showing to the authorities how you use the cloud to be compliant, and how you build your processes, how you build your systems to make it compliant. So it's a key way, and it's a very important way to facilitate your process into thinking about compliance. And if we go one step further, compliance is not just a one step. It's not a compliance. We do compliance, we have documentation, we get the certification, bam, we're done, it's finished. No, compliance is about a daily routine, about making sure you're doing the right thing, and what you expect is happening as expected. So there's 3 steps that is very important, and I try to figure out here how to explain it clearly. But when you think about your architecture, about your solution, you have to think about compliance built in it. And with these elements, we have some support. You have what we call the well-architected framework, which is a way of thinking how to do a good architecture using AWS, or basically any architecture. It's about availability, performance, reliability of your system, cost of the system, and security. So thinking how you build the system with all these 5 pillars in mind is very key, because all the elements are connected. You have also some guidance that we can provide. We have our VP of engineering that have created this builders library. So how AWS is building solutions that scales globally, and that is efficient and organized to protect the services. So it's very insightful for all the technologists in your company. You can use, as I said, the artifacts. So in AWS Artifact, you have all the certification and compliance that we have to put this into your documentation. And very important, if you're not aware of this approach, is infrastructure as code. So the idea is everything that you build is not done manually by your architect or developer. Is they create a framework, a complete code of all the infrastructure, all your solution. The value of this is that all the elements are very clear and all are interconnected, and it's very easy to assess what is the quality of your system, to reproduce it. If you have a compliant system, you can deploy the same on different servers, different regions, different places. So it's a way to have fully compliant templates available to be deployed. And that's the part on compliant architecture. Also, as you probably are doing every day, developers are building the elements, the solution, and it's working. But also they need to think about how they will iterate around this. You will have a success, you will have new features, you will need to change things. So you have to think about a continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline, so CI/CD. So it's how you deploy things efficiently, because building something and having to redo the documentation every time you do a new features, that's a loss of agility for you. So thinking about automation of this processing of building the system is very important. So that's what you do with CI/CD and with the DevSecOps practice. DevSecOps means development, security, and operations all together in the practice. I will cover this in the next slide in a second, so it will be even more clear. And also, once you define your right architecture, you define that you can make this automated and create new features and make still being compliant when you build your system. You need also to monitor your system over time. So once it's deployed, you need to check the security and the governance of your system, who access what, if there's any breach, if there's any unexpected patterns, things like that. And so it's also about threat protection and detection. So this is how you can use the cloud and the AWS services to continuously monitoring your system efficiently. And all these elements, so building the right way, automation of the building, and continuous monitoring is key for you to be always secure and iterate fastly. So it's part of the practice. So let me share quickly in one slide a very large topic, but it's very, very interesting, very important. But I think just the term is very important to have when you build your system, is embedding security and compliance in the way you build your solution and how you operate your solution in production. So the principle of DevSecOps is to build a pipeline where, as you can see, you will use the source, you create your source, thinking all the elements, the solution, the monitoring, the infrastructure, everything is a code, okay? You will have, so you can use AWS code commit here. You will build your solution. So you will create environment for test, dev, test, and prod. So you can build your elements to be similar to the production. So that's very important. And so you can test all the security elements, all the you can also with the testing you can test like it was in production. So you can by default when building your system automatically test what it would look like in production. So that's very key. Instead of deploying something and guessing what will happen in production, you can already test. And it's very important because it's elements and proof that you will need to support your documentation. So you can use code build if you want. There's other solution also. It can integrate with Jenkins, for example. You can use also the code build for testing or third-party tools. So it's where you build that your system is good. It's built as expected, it's testing like in production, and you can build artifacts or documentation of your system. So you can use your logs, create Word documents automatically. But thinking about the compliance since this beginning and making it automatic all the time is very important, because every time you make a change, you just run again the pipeline, and it tells you, you're compliant, you're not compliant. You fail at this test, you succeed at this test, and once it's ready, you can deploy in production with code deploy if you here in AWS. So it's a way to take your compliant element and deploy it into production and manage all the different deployment approach, where you can do like a blue-green deployment. So some features are available for some patients or some users, and others are still the old one. And once everything is fine, you can switch to the new version. So there's many approach on deployment. But what I want to say here is that it's a tool for you to bring your compliance system into production and control what's happening. And at the end, you have to monitor. So that's part of the ops part. So how you monitor what's happening. And part of the DevSecOps approach is monitoring and operation is part of the developer's concern. They have to think about this. They have to own it. This way, they make sure that they develop the right thing and there's no side effect or unexpected events that they don't see, or they don't prepare. They are not prepared for it. So this is for me very key to have in the mindset, because it's really about being agile and stay secure at the same time. And I move on because I'm already talking too much about this. I love this topic. I really think it's part of the innovation. So again, scale with superior visibility and control. So that's you start with something that is very specific to your solution, but you build everything around to make it compliant, and you can go large into your solution, and you have all the identity access and all the elements and security automation. Okay. This is a list of the different security, identity, and compliance solutions we have. This around identity and access management, how you manage patients, how you manage who can access what, which is very key. How you detect if there's anything, if everything is going as expected or not, and be aware when there's an issue. You don't discover it, you are aware directly. You have all the infrastructure protection, all the data protection that is very key, and how you manage incidents. Think about the support. When you're building something, be ready for something that won't happen as expected, and how you manage this, how you make it efficient to have no big issue in your system. That's very key. And I will stop here for the security and compliance. But as you have seen, it sounds not innovation, but in fact it's part of the innovation. It's very key to have this in mind. Let's move on to machine learning. So machine learning in AWS is very clear in terms of mission. We want to put machine learning in the hands of every developer. What we mean here is that depending on your developer, depending on your practice, depending on how many data scientists or data engineers you have, it's very important to think that AI is a solution to help doing things that humans won't have the time to do it by themselves, or to promote innovation this way. So it's very key. And we will cover this in the coming slides. So we're machine learning on AWS in any industry. There's tens of thousands of customers that have chosen AWS for machine learning workloads. And what is very important for me, having done data science a lot in my previous roles, is that it's machine learning in production. It's not just testing POCs, proof of values that looks interesting, but in fact that are not ready for production. It's very key to have this. Let me just a second. Pushing back the button to mute everyone. Thank you. So what we've seen change in terms of in healthcare. So that's key elements that where you have opportunities and you are already working on it. Data-driven decision making. How you make people aware of the right data to take the right decision for the patients, and how you can facilitate the access to this data. It's very key. All the administrative, all the non-very expert things that happens in healthcare that could be automated, because else it's physician taking the time to fill forms or looking for the details, and instead of taking more time for caring with the patient. Also, what we have seen is the IT models in healthcare is lacking of agility, because all this security that they need to cover, all this deployment, and how you make this technology accessible, and it's very important to keep the pace of new technologies and innovation for them. So it's how you make it this easy for them to use. Security and compliance already covered, and now you can use machine learning to improve this, how to detect personal health information that are maybe not in a secure bucket, in a secure place. So that's where you can use AI/ML to automatically find it for you. And also, which is for me maybe the key element, and it was mentioned also this morning, the experience. Patients are in a situation that they need to use your solution, or they will need to use the drug, but every day, how you make this experience convenient, how you make this experience a good experience for them to come back every day and use your solution is very key. Patients, caregivers, it's about the use over time, not just one say, oh wow, it's amazing, but how it's amazing every day. So experience is very key, and machine learning can help a lot on that. So machine learning, as I said, care quality improvement, administrative automation, machine learning for patient and population health analytics, a very big element. We have seen this with COVID-19, the need for COVID-19, but also the other non-covered or delayed care due to the pandemic currently. Operational efficiency, it's very important. People want to do the right thing efficiently. The personal health information compliance, how you detect data that might be not tagged as private, but in fact they are, and the customer engagement. So let's move on to the AWS stack, machine learning stack. This is a key understanding on how we see and how we make the machine learning accessible to everyone that want to build solutions. We have three layers. The first one on the bottom is machine learning frameworks and infrastructure, and I will cover this in a minute. It's where you have data engineers, data science, and computer scientists, expert in the domain, that they want to control and build their own system all by themselves with GPUs, deep learning, all these elements. We are compatible and helping and participating to most of them, but we are compatible with all the major machine learning framework, which is TensorFlow, MXNet, PyTorch, Keras. All the elements are compatible with AWS, but also we built some specific things about how you can enhance your cost and efficient and performance around inferences. So how you use the machine learning model in production, so that's key, and also some optimization like with CPUs and GPUs, and also FPGA that are processor that you can control the processing functions inside it to make it very specific to your domain. So it's very key. That's the level for the experts. And I will cover this in a minute more. The ML services is the place where we provide Amazon SageMaker, which is a complete set of solutions to help the data scientists and data engineers to use a system to build, train, and deploy their machine learning models. It's really meant to not just build and do POCs, it's really created to make it easy to build, train, and deploy your solution. And I will cover in details in a few minutes. And the last one is AI services with different type of services here. AI services are API-based services where you just need to send your data. It will process with the machine learning predefined model with some customization that you can do, and you get directly the output. So it's really meant for people that are developers with no data science expertise, or when you don't have the experts in-house. Maybe you are brilliant into computer vision with image analysis, but you don't have an NLP expert, but you need some natural language processing capacity. So you can use these services, part of your pipeline, to get your elements. So let's go deep into this. So as I mentioned, the ML framework and infrastructure, it's deep technology. You have access to the instances, EC2 instances with GPU, DP, CPUs, and all these capacities. So what needs to be known is that, again, AWS is building machine learning for production. It's very key. There's tens of thousands of customers that are using machine learning on AWS for production. 81% of the deep learning in the cloud runs on AWS. 85% of TensorFlow projects in the cloud runs on AWS. So if you want to have something that is working in production, scalable, performant, cost-effective, that's why customers are using AWS for machine learning. It's because you can build and deploy something that works in production. So Stanford say they were on top spot for the deep learning benchmark, training time, and all these elements. And to give you an example of how we do this, how we think about this, we even created a specific processor based on the Nitro architecture, which is a secure architecture in AWS that we created. Inference 1 instances are based on the processor called Inferentia. So it's customized to do inference of your machine learning model. Inference means you have your machine learning model, you have your data, you pass your data to the machine learning model, and you get the results. Why we build that is because doing the inference at scale and cost effective and at the performance you need is a very strong topic. So that's why we created a specific instance for that with high network capacity, optimized CPU, and very cost effective solution. So that's the kind of things we do for our customer, because it's doing this in production requires this high performance and low cost at the same time. If you go to the machine learning services, so I mentioned already SageMaker, let's move on to this slide. So it helps you to build, train, and deploy your models in production. So you collect and prepare your training data, then you choose or bring your own machine learning algorithm. So we have a predefined list of machine learning models optimized for SageMaker and AWS, but you can also bring your own models or create your own one. So that's the build phase. Then you need to train your model with the data that you have. So it's train and tune. So we have solutions to help you set up training environment dedicated for this, manage your training runs, so you can make multiple training runs at the same time or in parallel or compare them. And also, because it's not always working for the first time, how you train, debug, and tune your model. What are the elements that is outputted from your training? So this is very important. That's how you simplify the work of your data scientist. It's the moment where there's a lot to do and a lot of optimization to do. That's where you truly bring the innovation part, building your model and training it efficiently. And then you have to deploy and manage your system. So how you deploy your model in production, and how you monitor what's happening in your model. Maybe you've made a perfect model at a given time, and with the new data coming in, your model is drifting. It's not exactly as good as it was with the initial training set. So you need to see what's happening there. You need to scale and manage your production environment. So you maybe have a brilliant model, but how you make it sure it's adapted to the production environment. So you need to have these elements, and we are helping in this. And also the validation of prediction. Again, as I said, a bit of the drift. Does it work as expected? Is it bringing the value that you expect from your initial build and train situation? And we released last year SageMaker Studio, which is SageMaker with even more elements to facilitate the life of data scientists. So you have the notebooks, Jupyter notebooks to work on it. There's autopilot, so it's a system that will automatically build and train models for you. So you give the data and you make it, you put it into autopilot, and it will try for you different models, different hyperparameters for you, and will output what is the best, what are the score of the model, and you can pick the one that makes sense for you. So it's a way also to go even faster and make it a bit more automatized. And you can use also pre-built algorithm from AWS SageMaker, but also from partners if you want. There's all the training and tuning model where you can again see more elements around debugging, around the automation, the training environment. You can use Spot instances. Spot is lower cost instances, so resources that are not used in AWS that we provide for a given time with some control around the time to deliver it. But it's a way for you to go to up to 90% discount in terms of cost. So it's very useful for training very large models and being cost efficient. And you have also SageMaker experiments that is very good. It's all the different training models that you've done, and you can manage this by experiments, so you can see over time what are the change and improvement of what you have done. It also brings a model monitor, so it's looking at your model in production and how it moves in terms of inference. Is it still as effective as you want, and is it drifting or not? And you have also one-click deployment. Gartner recently released the solution scorecard for Amazon SageMaker, and we are at 84%. It's the highest rating amongst the peer group because it's efficient in terms of required criteria. 87%, 73% of as preferred criteria, and 85% on optional criteria. So you can access it through Gartner if you want to see the details. What it means is that we are really focusing on what the data science team needs to do for machine learning. Very key. And now let's move on to the AI services for people. So the part where we have pre-built models that are easily accessible to build. What does it mean? If you take, in this case, Rekognition for vision, computer vision. Let's make it very concrete. You have an image here. It's not healthcare, obviously. It's a man in a hat. You send this image to Rekognition, and it gives you back a structured data in JSON, telling you that he identified in this place a person with 99.3% of confidence that it's a person. He detected here it's a mountain bike, 91%, probably a rock with 82.8%. That's great. You've done nothing, and it identifies for you and gives you also, very important, the precision score. Why it's important is because if you want just to have an ID, you can go down to 80%, 70%, up to you. But if you want to have very high confidence in terms of score, you just select the results that are more than 95% or 99%, up to you. So Rekognition, you send an image, it gives you the results, where it is, what is the score, very useful. And what is nice, it's also it's customizable. So you can use it with custom labels to define and tell Rekognition, okay, in an image, that's what I'm looking for. So you can define products, icon, comic, and animation. Okay. For us, it's interesting for biological. You can, if you have, I don't know, plants, or if you want to use medical images, you can train him and tell him that that's the kind of elements that I want you to identify, and he gives you the precision score. So here, very easy. You don't need a data science expert. You just need someone with the data, the labels, and then you can use Rekognition. One element I want to show you, I will cover now a few elements that are very specific to the medical world. Again, Rekognition can be for the medical world also, but we have some services that are really with this extra bit of medical context. So we have Amazon Comprehend. Amazon Comprehend is a text to it's a natural language processing solution. So it analyzes the text and gives you the context of the text. Okay. So in the case of Amazon Comprehend, you can use for any type of text. We have made Amazon Comprehend medical, so it understands the medical context of the text. It can identify entities, medication, medical condition, treatments, anatomy, things like that. It understands the relationship between the elements. So you can have the medication and the dosage. You can have the test and the results. And it gives you directly the elements all connected. And it can also identify negation, diagnosis, signs and symptoms. And we will see also it can give you the medical coding. So in this case, you can see this is a name. So that's a classical text. You send the text. Aaron Freeman entered complaining of headache. Vitals normal. Suggested 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. Okay, that's a text that you have in EHR or in any patient, any doctor notes. Use Amazon Comprehend, you send it, and it gives you back the contextualization. So you identify that's a name, identify that's a diagnostic. This is a vital sign with a test that is normal, and it tells you that the dosage of this drug is all connected. Very easy. Nothing else to do than just sending the data, gives you back the information. Again, it can give you more with the medical coding. So you can have the RX norm or ICD-10 codes and even SNOMED CT. So it tells you that this medication, for example, it's the commercial name of this drug. It can give you also that tenderness is a code of ICD-10 as M79645, which is pain in the left finger. It can give you also the SNOMED CT, so it's also a medical coding system. So basically you move from simple text to something that is very structured and analyzed with a medical context. Very useful, and it's without this, basically you need the doctor to look at it and manually tag each element. So very efficient, very useful for scaling with free text elements in healthcare. We recently, a few months ago now, released also the temporality. So now Comprehend Medical can analyze your text and organize the elements to understand where things have happened. So concretely, what it means? It means that you can have the timeline of the patient. You can have all the elements by the time. So here he has troponin, all these elements. Few months later, he has these elements and this element. So it helps you to organize even the data that you have only in the free text. Again, for me, it's an amazing feature because in reality, you don't. It's very hard to find people to do that, to structure the data for you. It's long. It's difficult. Here, the machine will do it for you, and it will give you again the structure elements, and again also the precision. If he has doubts, you have the precision. One example that I like here is I'm very late. I need to go a bit fast. Sorry. So it's Comprehend Medical again with Rekognition. So here it analyzes the data, the image. It identifies some text data, and so that's Rekognition. It tells that there's text here, and you extract the text from Rekognition and you send it to Comprehend Medical to identify if there's PHI. So you move from an image that you need a doctor to look at it and maybe white label cover the text elements, the PHIs, and with a simple lambda and 2 calls to an API, you get an image that is de-identified. I want to cover the other elements, so I will skip a lot of these elements. I'm sorry, I'm too enthusiastic about all these elements. So Transcribe Medical, same approach. You use audio and you convert it to text. So you can have a doctor speaking or a patient and a doctor speaking, and it transforms the talk into a text, and you can use these elements, also this text, back to Comprehend Medical. So you move from a conversation between the patient and the doctor, or a patient or doctor notes, which is audio, into something that is structured. Let me move up a bit faster on this. And the one that I wanted to mention is Kendra too. Kendra is an enterprise search. We have used it for COVID-19. Where there's a website that you can go. It's called 19, and you have all the articles organized with machine learning enhanced, so you can search like any type of search and looking for words or for sentences that you are interested in, and it will bring you back the elements in a natural fashion way. It's very useful for a lot of use case here for research, for also if you want to do support center, call centers, anything like that. I don't want to leave you without a bit of a very, very, very important element discussed this morning. It's data interoperability. Currently, it's very key for innovation too. Currently, if you look at the systems in the organization, you have different databases that have their own models. Okay, great. And then you have people that wanted to have a single view of all these elements, and so they are struggling to do that. So every time they have to do it, they have to make a common data model to access all the data. And if you do different organization all together, they have their own system, own models, and so when you want to collaborate, it's difficult. So that's basically what happens currently with how you exchange data for the pandemic, how you connect to the systems also for you. If your solution is very useful but needs to be connected to the healthcare system, how you make it happen. So the idea is to have one common data model. So this is interoperability. And in fact, the HL7, which is initially a US organization, now it's an international organization, has created different standards, and the latest one released in 2014 is what we call FHIR. It's FHIR, but we say it FHIR. It's Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. It means to be used to share between different organizations the same concepts and the same way to organize elements. It's based on XML or JSON. Now most of the people are using JSON for obvious reasons. It's used even more by developers. And it looks like this. Oops. FHIR, it's well organized into JSON files, and it's also human readable, which means that you don't need to try to understand the XML. Here it's very human readable. And so these elements is resources, so definition of patient, definition of sample labs, definition of dietary, so definition of patient, of caregivers. All these elements are what they call resources. Different elements to organize and you can share this common model between different systems. Why it's important? Because it's used in many different organizations. And if you think, I don't know why there's a small blog, it's used also a lot and even more now with medical devices and with solutions wanted to integrate with the healthcare system. Being FHIR compatible, using FHIR is a key way for you to build your solution and make it easily connectable to the connected to the healthcare system. So it's part of your should be part of your strategy to have a compatibility with FHIR or using FHIR by default. What we have seen also, and I will mention this in a minute, is that it was used to share, so have a common data model between organizations, but even now it's used to store the data itself, because instead of speaking FHIR for in and out, you can also store the data as FHIR. So it's also a solution that you can use for storing the health data into a structured way that is able to be understood by a lot of systems. Quickly on this, we mentioned it a bit this morning. There's a lot of regulating and compliance requirements. It's very strong in USA, starting to be very big in UK. In European Union also, like France is proactively working on this to do is doing industry consultation around this to make interoperability between systems. In India too, in Australia. What I wanted to say is not a compliance discussion. Okay, you have to be compliant for some system, but it's very key for you to think about this because it's a solution to speak to everyone. for all the different systems. So think about FHIR. And so with AWS, we released a solution called FHIRWorks. It's an open source solution. It's meant for builders. It's a solution to embed FHIR as a FHIR server, as a facade. So you have a way to, it's a RESTful API. You can receive FHIR elements, it will process it for you, and then after you can adapt to what you want to do. You can store it in different systems. It can be NoSQL, SQL, up to you. Why we make it this way, why we don't build a full API by default, is because there's so many ways to use FHIR currently that it's difficult to get everyone into one fit-all situation. So we created this to be a starter, a quick start for the innovators to not think of how we build FHIR. Is use this and then you build your system around this. There's different options. We also want for around the transformation package to make you very easy to adapt to the different systems. Sorry, I need to go fast because I'm out of. Benefits of FHIRWorks is that it's compatible with the two latest FHIR version, STU3 and R4. It's flexible, it's open source, you can easily adapt to your needs and your profile. It's serverless, so it scales and it's high performance by default. So it's very important because starting with 100 requests per day and you can see millions of requests per hours. So it's very important, and it's a way for you to accelerate your FHIR enablement. And now let's finish on how to start. So a lot of elements covered today. First, start to build on AWS. We have a website with a lot of elements. There's a dedicated place for healthcare. We have a specific also website for training. You have a lot of free trainings on AWS and also links to partners support training. There's a dedicated place for machine learning if you want to deep dive on this with all the elements, all the use cases. And also, again, very important for you, if you want to build things, make sure you focus on what's important for you, but you still need maybe to cover the whole picture. You still need to cover the whole picture. So think about working with partners to accelerate your capacity to innovate and be secure. And I will finish on this. Again, reminder, please fill this survey. It's on the chat too. Not the survey, it's the registry. You can contact us. Also, you can contact Rosario Munoz at this email. And you can, as you are startup participating, you can also have some credits, AWS credits for starting your journey. And I will stop here. Thank you. Let me check if there's a lot of questions. I can stay a bit longer if there's question. Ok.
Sono arrivate le SDS di Yord.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Molto in tedesco.
Please, can you repeat? I didn't hear you. Okay. So, so you can speak now if you have questions. Okay. So please let us know. We will be happy to support you into your journey. I hope it was useful for you. And yeah, happy to connect and help you into your journey. Thank you very much.